us your arm. Give us your old school charm. Girls get cold. Girls get cold. Oh, give us your hot breath. Oh, give us your pride. Give us a little death, a little time. Girls get cold. Girls get cold. Oh, give us your summertime. Give us your fall. Give us your fire and winter. See the give me your heart. Give me your soul. Take me apart and let me go. Straight boys, fast cars, killjoys, sports bars, grown men, old world, children for straight girls. Straight boys, they lie, big talk, short ride. Why can't I be friends with a straight boy? Truck stop, black tie, on top. Why can't I? Why can't I? Why can't I? Why, 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 why? Why can't I be friends with a straight boy? Why can't I? Why, 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 why? Why, 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 why can't straight boys, hooligans, and then old men. The boy is straight, he don't bend till we break up again. Why, 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 why? Why, 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 why? Why can't Why can't I be friends with a straight boy? Why can't I? Why, 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 why can't I? Why can't Why can't I be friends with a straight boy? Why can't I? Why can't I? The night is real and cold and late and full of sound. I kiss the feel of hands on me now. How I miss the weight of a man to hold me down. The weight of a man to make me count. The weight of a man. The story's real, the stars are fake and burning out. The taste of you is gone from my mouth. How I miss the weight of a man to hold me down. The weight of a man to make me count. The weight. Gravity so heavy, the memories hang around. You pull me, I hold my ground.
Hello. Happy Thursday. Hi, everyone. Thank you for spending your rainy Thursday night with us here at Beyond Baroque. My name is Ivan Salinas. I'm the programs manager here in this beautiful space. I want to welcome you all to the Wanda Coleman Theater. And I'd like to start by acknowledging our presence in unceded territory. We stand in solidarity with Indigenous, Tongva, Tatavia, and Chumash peoples who've endured colonialism and displacement. We stand against genocide and are committed to provide a space for Indigenous artists and communities as they are the original stewards of this land. Beyond Baroque is a place dedicated to the possibilities of language. It was founded in 1968 by George Jury Smith. It began as an experimental literary magazine and evolved into the interdisciplinary art space it is today. This building first served as the original Venice City Hall, but since the late 70s, it has been a home for writers and artists, and we really hope to be here for a whole other century, thanks to your support. And it was always been great to take over governmental buildings and make them into art spaces. So yeah, that's all we need. Yeah, I'm glad that always gets a roar, because this fighting spirit's alive, and this complex is an example of that, and the many more art spaces that we need in every neighborhood. But you can also see some of our programming and workshops that we have through our website at beyondbaroque.org. And we are currently offering our free Monday night fiction workshop facilitated by Raquel Baker, and our free Wednesday night poetry workshop currently facilitated by Jose Hernandez Diaz, but I believe by next week or the week after that we'll be having a new facilitator, which is Martin Yago. So rotating facilitators, but all participants are welcome to bring in a piece and have it workshopped with a group of participants. So that happens every week on Zoom, and every weekend throughout the year we have programming here in the theater. We are having a reading with 3 Omnidawn poets tonight, but tomorrow we'll be hosting What Books Press and Giant Claw. We'll featuring Jimmy Vega, who's interim executive director here at Beyond Baroque, with their debut collection. So congrats to him, of course, and to Suzanne Loomis with a new book out, Stephen Cooper and Patty Sayburn. We'll be at the Independent Voices Library Festival at LA Central Library from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. But if you're here on the west side, we are hosting the Santa Monica Review. They'll be featuring some of their contributors and celebrating 37 years of the magazine that was started by Jim Crusoe, which was also a founder of Beyond Baroque, along with George and myriad of many poets. So you can check out all of that, more information of what's coming up on the final month of 2025. And we are very excited that we made it to the end of the year and continuing the work for to welcome 2026. If you aren't a member yet, you can become a Beyond Baroque member. These memberships start at $75, and there's discount for students at $50. But these give you access to events for free at Beyond Baroque all year. And they also give you perks to discounts in the bookstore, as well as appreciation events that we have from time to time for all our members. So you are supporting the bloodline of Beyond Baroque. We are able to pay the authors that come to the space, as well as the staff that make all these events possible. So with that, let's give a round of applause to the team at Beyond Baroque, starting with Eric Alberg and Booth, master of light and sound and the virtual live stream, and to our directors, Jimmy, our former director, who I miss dearly, Quentin, is now chilling in Portugal, but he's doing great. But yeah, shout out to him and Jimmy, and our team, Genesis, Annika, Zoe, and Barbara. Okay, so we'll get started with some poetry. Just know that all our poets are celebrating new books, and we have copies of those right across the hall in the bookstore. I'm sure that our authors will be more than happy to sign them after the reading. So we're going to get started with Jennifer Hasegawa, who is a poet and community archivist. Her latest poetry collection, NAOMIE ANOMIE, A Biography of Infinite Desire, is an experimental poetic take on anti-memoir. Her debut collection, La Chica's Field Guide to Banzai Living, won the Joseph Henry Jackson Literary Award and was longlisted for the Believer Book Award in Poetry. Her work has appeared in the Adroit Journal, Bamboo Ridge, Bennington Review, and a few others. She was born and raised on the Big Island of Hawaii and currently resides in the San Francisco Bay Area. Let's give a round of applause to Jennifer Hasegawa.
Oh, hello, everyone. How wonderful to see you. Thank you very much for braving the beautiful rains to come and join us for a night of poetry. I am going to read a few poems from NAOMIE ANOMIE, a biography of infinite desire. Hilo Shopping Center Easter egg hunt of 1976. Her first egg hunt was a lesson in war and domination. She returned with one stepped-on candy egg bursting from its plastic suit. Red dirt stuck to fluffy white innards meant for mouths. She handed it to Mother, who took one step closer to death. Hollow plastic eggs equal power. Why savage for frivolous things? How to escape this room labeled born weak? She collapsed into the lap of the beautiful superorganism. Ants took her in their shackles, tiny amber jewels, eating this accidental autocrat into ash. The ruddy-faced apostle who fed them freshly churned butter every Sunday came running. Tropical Pietà, Caucasian angel, held her like an auto harp and sang her into an urn, reconfigured by fire. Fairy tale agape, body now a tabernacle, and never more willing to lose. The finger poke of doom. Late night in a box, floating in space, dazed in the flash of the picture case. When she turns the dial, the whole place shakes. Wrestler in yellow underwear tosses dolls around, but they are people. When they fall, they bounce like balls, but they are people. She gave it all to the wolf because it said it would bring her 10 times more. She coddled the kitten till it was old enough to live outside, nubby bike tires creeping, drawstring bag swinging, through thin muslin, milky breath pushing. Wolf loves a freshly plucked heart, last naive squeak bubbling between its teeth, constructs a mental carnival where it can ride tears like a roller coaster. Wolf doesn't want the ones who see through the theatrics of spray tans and oil-soaked hair. It wants the ones who'll shake hands with a puff of smoke. Turn this way. Does this sexual cannibalism make her look fat? From the first touch of an unwashed hand, a garden grew. Shady delta of strangers. It learned the patterns of phone numbers to female dorms. Feet, tail, wings, beak, body feathers. Dial pad sonations, rapid macro reversals of beg and discard. The value of rhythm in bird song and the courtship of beetles. Starved for the delicious nada, basking in the luminous conceit of gonads. She drives fertility like a founding father. Witnesses the joy of gonazoids making a salad of her future. Not yet, it's said, as if asking for more time on a playground swing, its machinations an ice cube in the knee pit. Her body, a controlled substance, increased risk of, black box warning printed on the whites of her eyes. Plastic surgery as a conformative response to strain. Over dinner, the surgeon asked him, "Do you want me to make her whole again?" Suddenly, conscious of her skin like breading on the cutlet steaming on the table. Septate, imperforate, microperforate, crib reform. Give her to you the way God intended. Tear away flesh that lights the light in. Kaleidoscope of nothing. She worried that she'd sift a café con leche brought by the maid and wake up in hospital socks, immaculate again. From her bedroom window, she saw the surrounding wall topped with thousands of broken wine bottles. She came to believe she was a chuck roast, somehow shocked to life. In the courtyard, she watched women in tangas douse each other with a hose and disappear in the refracting mist. Allowed nothing else. Eventually, she ate her own brain. Super hot homo sacer. Still, people accuse her of appropriation. This one's for LA. He claims the transformer is a surveillance camera. Come back, LA woman, oozing from the tailpipe of a Crown Victoria, police interceptor, red-lipped invader, driving down your freeways, careless and high on binding intentions into physical form. Motel, honey, hoarder madness. Vulva towering above sunset. Tops in copless bars. Amulet of athleticism. Won $20 with a scratch card, pizza slices and Coke on the curb. Wacko truth serum. Pissed the bed and it felt like drowning. So alone. Forget which laundry had her interview suit. So alone. He drove her around examining utility poles. The hills are full of wire. Pig head in the market, eyes opening, teeth glistening, where the best meat comes from. Once you taste it, you won't be able to stop. She expected an endless loop of imperceptible atomic transitions, but instead came transmissions of blessings, palliative salve to the loneliest night hunters, compulsively checking the city of a light for a time so good they'll never have another. Let's see here. It's another LA poem. Stoners in the hands of an angry God. Zombie palm tree, overpass melancholy, and sig alert Kaddish. Rate this interstate on a scale of 1 to 10. They mainline their bodies 7 lanes wide. She threw her purse out the window. Goodbye, self. She looked to him, and he had horns. He looked to her, and she had 4. Demons arrive late. Their maps contain dimensions. They reach the beach to climb sand dunes with insomniac citizens, sleeping, dreaming of body snatchers and moving money. Towing the droning shore, she lifted her shirt for ghostly lights beaming from her navel. The Pacific lay non-Newtonian beneath their feet, and so they walked a straight line to Point Doom. Nuclear reactions held hands to broadcast stories of great bears and damned maidens chained to sea rocks. By sunrise, her pupils small and horns fallen away, a stream of tiny paper tabs flew out of her mouth. On each, a dragon sent to bite through her dull chains, but instead they held her tighter, together, spitting teeth and rubbing their gums along the rocky shore. Oh, placenta. Hovering over dark hills, flying saucer so thick in the middle with blood, vigilant over soft crops, 8 billion bipeds, all failures of the flesh before this singular perfection lay hidden in the rocks. Bat, pangolin whale, elk, opossum human, warm-blooded, fur-bearing, live young suckling, bound for ghost lineage Neverland. She's so self-centered. When whales breastfeed, their milk thick as toothpaste floats in water. She's so self-centered. When marsupials mate, a bifurcated penis enters 2 vaginas connected to 2 uteruses. Glory, a baby emerges from a 3rd and transient canal. She's so self-centered. When she was inside, she herself was a foreign body. If she touched her home of tissue and bone, its cells would have devoured her. Little being, capable of what? Oh, placenta, love song to an ancient retrovirus that laid down the good grounds for immune privilege, hidden virality, domesticated, mutating, and free to roam. Afterbirth, eaten under neon signs, flashing food, gas, and clean restrooms. Add to 3 cups milk and drink the elixir of connected destinies. What you say is a hallucination, and real machines can't look you in the eye. When viruses communicate, they don't have to lie. And I'll close with this one. In her dreams, she radiates. Defiant as a dream life of strontium, the half-life of brains. What might a confidence man manifest tied to a chariot drawn by donkeys? Amniotic afterlives flow through Papeete, Plymouth, Pripyat, primordial whatnot. Satellite photographs reveal a parade of ghosts on the river. They tell her about the way atoms travel. One might say she is a body of the Holocene, plasticine shape shifter built from ancestors, one slow cell at a time. One might say the zone of alienation is relatively safe to visit. When we hug there, we disappear. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Our next poet is Molly Bendall. She's the author of 6 collections of poetry, including Watchful from Omnidawn Press and Under the Quick from Parlor Press. Her new collection, Turncoat, has just appeared from Omnidawn. Her chapbook of translations of the Egyptian French poet Joyce Mansour came out from Toad Press in 2022. Her poems have appeared in anthologies such as American Hybrid, Satellite Convulsions, Poets from Tin House, and Wide Awake, Los Angeles, published by Beyond Baroque Books. She teaches literature and creative writing at the University of Southern California. Let's welcome Molly Bendall.
Thank you, Yvonne, and Jimmy, and Eric, and Genesis, and the gang at Beyond Baroque. And it's so great to read with Jennifer and Martha, 2 of my favorite poets and people. And all my other favorite people and writers are here. So thank you for coming. And thank you those maybe watching on YouTube, live stream. My new book, Turncoat, the figures and speakers in these poems are under the cloud of surveillance by an unnamed authority. And so consequently, uncertainty, mistrust, perhaps paranoia, enters the fabric of their lives. Confidential meeting for future reference. I can't decide if the monument I stand beside arrests me, or if it pushes me too close to blood traveling my arteries. Slow, but language sparks when I quicken it. The roll call and the birds argue non-stop. I would serve and serve them. Here are my eyes, my unbuttoned forehead. Now the stairwell carries no daylight, and the mayor wanders the back streets. Do we forbid ourselves from carrying purses with tissues and powder? The building shook from the bottom, and later when I heard them through the transom, I knew and followed in my apprentice suit. I make shields and fold maps into chicken craws. I stuff a grab bag of delight. I'm expected with meals for them. Thunder stumbles up the steps. No more bargaining. It's when my sweater fills with air, then with water, that morning comes to the quiet streets of power. So many of these poems have a kind of jagged, broken syntax where it seems that things don't always follow logically. They're a bit misaligned, yet they're the phrases are not unrelated, just somewhat dislodged at times. Distract yourself by counting entryways. Locked in an index file. Devise tokens for saving. Blame it on not knowing her whereabouts. Your cue? Ask the dumb me. Set a foot there. Blame that too. Neither message came. Sometimes it's blindness. Sometimes that's how the skin tightens. Not a hand wave, just a lousy bet. Her legs pulled up into her chest. Bottle green, they called the car. In between shadows, Our train rolled on worries. Her sweater opened like a door. That kind of green doesn't really exist. I nearly drove it around. Out of hearing range, but where does it lodge? Then so close you could see the pilot's face. Currency, that's what keeps us steering. From then on, you jettison their response. Hold on to your skin. Questions of varying lengths. Could it be the 3rd and 4th degree? Possibly she's styled for travel. Possibly a blanket calling out. Afterwards, a stiff push. I thought I'd speak or speed off. The vague, I'll start again. The vague territory of the present. Someone should make it their business. So we could transfer the meeting, pack it up, pinch it into a needle's eye, to be seen through a magnifying glass. And I'd take the tin and pour vinegar around the entrance, so no one would think to forego another supper. That's the feeling when my lungs slip down to my ankles. I knew it was misery. Like the dog said, the misery of broken chairs. And when we came to the meridian, I slid the ruler out of her dress. I had to tell her to buckle myself to the sky, then let her provide the ledger, proof the day is alive. In my head, I felt the blows to her windpipe. I could no longer hinder the outcome. I could only adjust my limbs accordingly. But first, I had to tongue the glass gears and count the empty drawers to warrant a reprieve. And I had many of the poems have a she, the speaker, and a she, and I was sort of imagining that the she had been sort of an ally or friend of the speaker, yet that often comes into question, how allied they really are and how mistrust has entered. Preponderance of evidence. When aid came, it was tomorrow. Pulling snaps apart, I'd rather wing it. Had that one claim, ticked and talked it around her head. Strategies compounded the underside, warned as she tried to deny. There was hearsay, we compromised. We'd predict her next blank space. Speak to me as if I have Zorro's mask on. Then I'm a late baby boomer, but not dependent that way. Even the zinnia bed was kept under wraps, thick with gnats, thick with new lettering. I'd invent a stitch for my sentence so its pulse would skip. When she finally revealed her jagged hairline, shh sounds came intermittently with the rainfall. Facts inside the matchbook spoke to it. In exchange for a cleanup crew, I brought wings to cover my face, supposing they'd excavate soon. Warships in the afternoon, warships in the evening. Strike and stay if they don't believe. A session goes unheeded. Over the speaker, a muddied voice retells the score. Slip like it got waxed and knew anyway. Drive, like your rescue came too soon. The busiest body. I'm lucky, ghostly lucky. When I start roaming and recognize the sign on the building's door, fenced in now, what a dirty morning. Scabs on the chairs, weeds with their machine hearts whining. And the air would shrink, draw up into my stomach, and settle in a nest of glass. I'd later find my sweat all over town. She had counseled me before, wait for the gears to click, wait for the buzz through the ground. Without a flinch, she took the bet. And I had a giddy sense that what remained would be delivered. The tip of her ear dripped, staining her collar. The elm drips, the earth drips. She pinched a talon and held it out to me. Wise up, I tried to say, and my ears filled like pockets. How do I register myself? Am I beating? Is air leaving my mouth? There's minutia, glue drying in corners, arms held down with string. Visualize anyone. She understood it now, the cog behind her back, celebrated it even. As her arms hung down too far, her makeup, too, was amplified. Feel the grooves and teeth. If the cube she lived in would break, the shiny walls would stoop and bow. That's why I pulled her words in tight, even words that blistered without a remedy. I anticipated her testimony. That sustained me. When the crows increased, it was time for the sky to stretch. The group would never surrender, so I brought the starving ones milk. It helped them burn a path. It's not English anymore, and when her scarves rose higher than the elms, they snapped like shellfish and filled it all with noise. She held her blouse up to my ear. Listen, if you don't wear gray, the sunlight will bury you. I read her next epic in a day. Thank you. So I'm going to end with this strange poem. I heard, thank you for coming. Thanks very much. It was great to read for you, my friends. I heard the dry objects of the mad people rustling. The wayside is there to teach. And if you so much as glanced, got stuck after the second line, entire lives made you, thistles with a further purpose. At the end, sinking. Then, with the bullet, the belt, he'd peel out. Be tip-top until we count paces, and the cramming in of early autumn, the sure cramming in. Roll toward the light queens. Say yes to trembling fruit. Oh, that's tip-top. When does my skin fly open? And do clicks wish to grow back? To be birch between banks. Apologize before swabbing the dead wood. Out with the loose jacket, the tailor declared. My grandmother, too, was an excellent seamstress. For the landowners, the thistles made the border right. And then what stuck? Linger when leaves slough off hands. Everyone somewhere in the country. Tight squares. You could wait to play. The tracks came to the end. Queens stitched on. I'm reaching it, carrying provinces. To be tree and promise not to. To be ice and win the hand. Thank you.
Molly Bendall, thank you. And thank you for organizing this reading, bringing us all together. Our last poet of the evening is Martha Ronk. She's the author of 13 books of poetry, most recently Clay, Bodies+Matter, focused on pottery and the intersection of self and matter. Transfer of Qualities was long listed for the National Book Award. Vertigo was a national poetry selection. She has received an NEA, residencies at Jurassic and MacDowell, and is included in the Wesleyan series of 21st century poets. At Occidental College, she was the professor of English and coordinator of creative writing. Thank you for being with us, Martha. And let's give a round of applause to Martha Ronk.
I was at Occidental College. I'm not anymore. Thank you very much. And thank you all for being here. I can't see you. And thank you very much for the readings that just have occurred. The book that I'm reading from is a book that came about because I'm a very amateur potter. But as I worked at the studio that I belong to, I began thinking about how amazing it is that one can put one's hands into matter that then dries and then breaks. So I was thinking about fragility and emptiness and repetition, and I was very influenced by someone who now has an exhibition, actually several exhibitions at the Huntington Museum in Pasadena, Edmund Duvall, whom most of you will know because he wrote The Hare with the Amber Eyes, but he's a great potter. And I'm going to begin by reading something that he wrote. Actually, I see it better without this. I'm asked, this is Edmund Duvall, I'm asked again and again about why I make vessels again and again. Why sit low down on my potter's wheel, turn to my left, and pick up a small ball of porcelain, throw it into the center of a revolving wheel, wet my hands, bring them together over the clay, and start another vessel. Don't you get bored, I'm asked? They are so simple, just cylinders, a few centimeters high, barely inflected forms, a slight change of energy at the rim. Use the same clay, the same wheel, the same few tools. My answer is that to spend time is to explore time. And I just, I was so struck by that and by the fact that I keep doing this work even though I'm not very good at it. And I've been doing it for a very long time. The other thing that I find so interesting about about working with clay is exactly what Edmund Duvall talks about, which is that you lose yourself in the time that you're doing it and you don't think about much else. When I was a child, I tried very hard to put myself through the wall. I practiced it over and over as if I tapped it again, if I put my foot up against the wall, I'd somehow get through to the other side. And since I couldn't do that, I guess I took up pottery. So this is called One with Matter. Let's see if these, none of my glasses work. One with matter. This ancient material language, each letter felt by hand. When we touch the moving clay, we are in the midst of it and we are it, torquing, bending, lifting. The work of shaping, of skin, of watery touch, of breathing with the air that fills the cavity of the clay, rounding it out, pushing against the sides, plunging into it as if we could, grasping the branch, the cup, the book, wanting to be inside, part of, and lost, finally lost. To pass through another body with cloud-like ease. Intimacy with matter, leaning into it as it yields to our hands, following its lead, wedged and slammed as it folds. The clay moves in on itself, enveloping its own exterior, expanding interiority with every move, beginning to be it. I should also say that this is a collaborative book. My hands are not on the picture on the front. There are a lot of pictures inside the book from pieces of pottery that are made by experts and are in museums or were made by friends of mine. And it has a lot of quotations in it about touching, especially the sense of touch that isn't paid attention to enough. Most of us are very aware of our eyes. And clay, of course, makes one very aware of touching. This is called Skin plus Matter. Prone to equals lying face down, obsoletes still showing up. The bay water lying face down in mud as the tide slithers off in rivulets out to sea. If there is a between that and the one I am, I want to reside there in what sometimes is called empty, the space between here and there and muddy clay, lined with grasses and overwritten by birds, the occasional swells. At twilight, birds crashed into the high waters out there, mist in between. In mist, what your skin feels, somewhat what I mean as between, yet how to get there, the mysterium tremendum. And this is about glazes. And one of the kinds of glazes is partly made with cobalt. And so this poem is called Cobalt and Cranes. Cobalt is toxic, of great value. The painted blue of cranes, pagodas, dragons, over the tail feathers, the cobalt stipples slightly ruffled, slight around the rim, pale black after the firing, repeated copying, a proper homage of respect to age. Repeat the mark, repeat the coil, repetition as an aspect of making, the return of migrating birds, of doing it again, each teacup, the walk each morning, the ongoing passage of time, the ordinary done over, how many times the same move of the hands, the feet, the making, the mark. And this is a little story. A story. A man sent a cobalt teacup as a present to one who prepared the tea. A pair of cranes flew out of the cup and circled around it, disappeared only when the tea was drunk. My favorite glaze, after I've made something, is called celadon, and most of you will know that color as a color that's betwixt and between gray and green and blue and gray and so on. So this is a poem about celadon. No distance between word and vast profusions, spillovers, out of one source, a sudden surge. How many threads need there be, or none? No distance, perchance, a slew of words, tactile, the connections to the letters. No space between, hand drifting to hand, color shading into a shaded green, color close to the line of letters, adjunct, adherent, perchance, to wit, ad infinitum, words useless to some, essential to others, perchance to dream. After the one scenario, another to follow. Pleasure at the tips of the branches when I say, connect this to sky, grayed out blue, as yet afloat, amorphous, the not yet conceived, thought of, the underleaf. There was in Los Angeles about maybe 4 or 5 years ago an exhibition of Edmund de Waal's cylinders. And as I read to you at the very beginning, he makes these cylinders one after another. Mostly they're white and mostly they're about that size. And the exhibit was in one of the early houses that were made by people like Schindler. I think it was a Schindler house, actually. And he had an exhibition that was on some kind of, there were shelves that you could see through and so on. So this was about that. And it reminded me of watching cranes, white cranes out in the bay, these cylinders and the white cranes. And so I'm going to read this poem about Edmund de Waal and the cranes. Porcelain cylinders rising up, their erect spines on narrow shelves in a gallery marked by thinness. A void inside all visible parts, in a line of skin over air, childish drawings of human bodies, an exhibit of miniature standing stones to catch the sunrise, the moonrise, a part of speech, he called them. Prepositional phrases, perhaps. It's what he means. It could be intimacy, touching the material of clay, saying whatever intimacy says, porcelain cylinders, making the ledge of winter, rubbing the edges of hands of clay, together they move. Yes, as language. I find myself stymied, tongue-tied, transported to winter perpendicular against the weedy shore. Searching out birds in the dense cypress all morning. What was there I couldn't quite make out. Morning, a sun-like porcelain, whiting the gravel ground. Snowy egrets, upright cylinders on the farthest island of the marsh. I couldn't be sure. Stripes against the weeds, green. I'm breathing dust of the cold night air, the making of cylinders, both precise and subject to change. Uncertain in the making of the firing, in the glazing, the identical, never perfectly identical, cylinders capable of being and of not being, as clay surrounds the unseen, incorporeal, whitish, see-through, and white light, and tangled breathing. Thank you very much. And thank you all for coming.
Thank you all. And, yeah, round of applause to all our poets.